Welcome back to another episode of the TDT podcast. We have a fun fact again, and it is that Kleenex tissues were originally intended to be used in gas masks. Yes, folks, gas masks. Apparently, in World War One, there was a cotton shortage, and Kimberly Clark developed a thin, flat cotton substitute that led the army tried to use as a filter in a gas mask. Unfortunately, the war ended before people got to use tissue.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, the war ended.
Yeah, that sounds really bad, I guess. But the war ended before scientists could actually get it out there to the troops, so people cannot use tissues to filter out dangerous gas. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I did not know that. But
I think that was a pretty useless fact of the day. I don't think I'm ever.
hey, they're all
It was a
useless.
good
at the
last
end in my life.
Our last one was about armadillos. Actually, that was very useless or useful. Like, imagine you're like a standout or whatever, like in like a gunfight, and there's an armadillo. Pick it up and use it as a shield. You know what I'm saying? That thing, they ricochet too, apparently. So they're like, you know how like it's like a lightsaber, they block all the bullets and they go back. It's a lightsaber, but armadillo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome back, Jack Gibby. We're having you
Yes.
on as another episode. So that's
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah, I know. He's just that cool, guys. Let us know if you don't like him, because if you don't, this will be his last one.
If his voice sounds too annoying, just drop.
Yeah,
a comment.
if you know.
Below.
Yeah. All right.
We're
But the
kidding.
topic of this episode is our picks for the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year. All those major awards. We're not doing Walter Payton Man of the Year award because that's not really statistical based, and that's more like I don't even know how really to judge that.
It's
But,
like how good of a player.
Yeah,
is
it's
outside of the
yeah.
game. And
Yeah, it's kind of like how good of the person is. You know, we're not really going to judge that. But yeah,
Right.
we've all made our picks, and I guess we're just going to get started.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Jack, you want to go first? Special guest, you know? Gotta
All
go
right,
first?
which one are we doing first? Offensive Player of the Year?
Sure, why not?
Oof. Let's see. Offensive Player of the Year. I'm gonna have to go with my man Aaron Rodgers. It's gonna. I don't know. I just can't think of anybody else. I mean, there's a few players that are close to him, but he passed for 48 touchdowns. He had so few interceptions. I think that's the main stat going for Rodgers.
Yeah.
His touchdowns to interceptions, especially
The
that
ratio.
interception. Yeah, the ratio. He just throws so few interceptions, and he's just been the number one. He's been so consistent all year. I don't know. There's probably only one or two games in which he didn't have really good stats going for him. He's brought Green Bay to number one seed in the NFC and going into the playoffs. I think they've got a great chance at going to the Super Bowl. I just think it's going to be hard to pick anybody else. He's just one of the best players in the NFL right now, and I think he's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year.
All right.
Yeah.
Carter, what's your pick?
Yeah, my pick for the Offensive Player of the Year is Derrick Henry. He was first in attempts with 378, first in rushing yards, and first in touchdowns, and he had an average of 5.4 yards. So, and by the way, you know, Tennessee is the only team ever, I think, to have two back-to-back or two 2,000-yard rushers, which is pretty
Mhm.
cool little fact. And he's been the most dominant player in the NFL overall. I feel like yeah, you know, you got the Patrick Mahomes who's always doing good, but I feel like this man could carry a team to the playoffs just on his back. You know, I feel like that's how good he is. So
Right.
I'm gonna go with Henry for the Offensive Player of the Year.
All right, my pick, it's the exact same thing. And no matter what y'all said, Derrick Henry to me is the most dominant offensive player. You cannot tackle him. He has
Exactly.
ended so many people's careers by just stiff arming them to the ground. You know, he broke 2,000 yards in a single season again. So, and he won the rushing title 2 times in a row now. I really think that Derrick Henry is the most unstoppable player in the backfield and on the offense. So my pick for the Offensive Player of the Year is Derrick Henry as well.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the Defensive Player of the Year, Jack, what is your pick?
I don't know. I think it's just hard to pick anybody other than TJ Watt. He led the league in sacks. He was so dominant. He didn't, I don't want to say he carried the Steelers defense this year, but he was by far their best player. He did
Yeah.
really well. I just think there's no other. I mean, Aaron Donald did really well, but I just think if you're talking defense, any team would want to have TJ Watt just because he's just so strong and I just think he's going to be the defensive player of the year. Just purely, he had the number 1 sacks, obviously. I just think he's the best defensive player in the league.
All right, Carter, your pick.
Yeah, I have I have Xavier Howard. He's the leader he has an interception leader this year. Great, he had a total of 40 tackles this year alone, solo, and 10 interceptions. He was the best corner in the NFL this year, undisputed. There are some good guys out there, obviously, but I think he just takes the cake.
All right. So my pick, Carter, I completely agree with you. He's such a dominant secondary player, but I'm gonna have to go with Jack on this one too. Is that T.J. Watt is just, in my opinion, is the most dominant edge threat in the NFL. I don't think that you can guard him very easily. His block shedding is just insane. He gets the QB so fast. He led the league this year in sacks. And Jack, what you were saying was you didn't want to say that he carried the Steelers team, but when Bud Dupree got hurt, who was also leading the league in sacks, TJ Watt took over, and I think he really proved that he is the most dominant edge threat in the NFL. So my defensive player of the year is going to have to go to TJ Watt as well.
All right, moving on, we got Rookie of the Year.
Oof.
All right. I don't know. I feel like this year had some pretty good rookies,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, let's see, just up there, Justin Jefferson, Chase Young, James Robinson. I don't know. I feel like I almost wanted to pick James Robinson because, I picked him up in fantasy, and he really carried my team. I mean, having Kamara and Robinson was crazy, but I'm going to have to go with Justin Jefferson. I don't know. I watched the Vikings play some games this year, and he was just as good as Thielen. And, I mean, most games, he was probably better than Thielen.
Yeah, I think he was better.
Vikings. And he was just, he went to LSU, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember watching him at LSU, too. I mean, him and Joe Burrow, oh, my goodness, that was amazing to watch. But even at the Vikings, and the Vikings weren't an outstanding team this year. And Kirk Cousins wasn't a wonderful quarterback, but it's just the fact that he can do as well as he did on that team. I just think the Rookie of the Year award has to go to him.
Not to mention, he also broke Randy Moss's rookie receiving record.
He did, yeah.
That is pretty huge. All right, Carter, what's your pick?
All right, yeah, my pick is Justin Herbert. He had 4,336 yards, which was 6th in the NFL, so right out of the top 5, which just shows you how actually really good he was, because the Chargers weren't a great team, and he has Keenan Allen, and that's about his only target, honestly. He had 31 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Not the best ratio, but still for a rookie, that's really good. I think he set like the rookie record for some stat. I can't really remember right now, but I'm pretty sure he set a rookie record, and I just don't think there's anyone as dominant as him in their first year right now.
All right, so my pick is actually, so I was deciding between Jefferson and Herbert as well, but I'm going to have to go with Herbert. I was thinking about this earlier today. So he broke the rookie record for the most touchdowns thrown. I mean, you look at some of this kid's highlights and the throws that he makes. It's just, it looks like he's been in the league for like 5+ years. So to me, Justin Herbert, besides his haircut, really, I think he took off as a rookie. And I think he was the most dominant rookie QB. And I think he was also the most valuable rookie that a person could have on their team right now. So my Rookie of the Year award is going to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he had, I just looked at it, he got 36 pass touchdowns, which is pretty good. He also had 5 rush touchdowns, so he did pretty well this season.
So moving on, we have Comeback Player of the Year. Jack, who'd you pick?
Well, I mean, we were talking about this before, but I can only think of one player, and I know you guys are probably going to pick the same player. Alex Smith. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and say consensus Alex Smith.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't think of anybody else. If you saw that injury last year, was it last year?
It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. That was a long time. But it was an awful injury. I mean, I saw a video of it recently. It was just terrible. But the fact that he can come back and bring Washington to the playoffs, I mean,
yeah, crazy.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done a lot better than you would expect somebody to do after 2 years away from the NFL.
Yeah, he was told that he would never play again, that he would have to get his leg amputated, that he wouldn't be able to walk. And there's that, like, I think read somewhere that someone told him that he might die. Like, this
Yeah.
dude was like down bad. I mean, he probably came back from one of the most gruesome injuries ever, and he's he hasn't been having the greatest statistical year, but he also hasn't started every game. He missed like half a season. But still, the fact that he even came back from that is just
Absolutely
it's
incredible.
incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Alex Smith is the type of guy that puts a smile on your face every time you see him walk on the field, especially since that injury. He's tough as nails, clearly, and he definitely deserves this award.
Yeah.
But next up, we have
100%.
Coach of the Year. So, Jack, who's your pick for that?
All right. For Coach of the Year, I'm going with the Green Bay coach, Matt LaFleur. I remember when they signed this coach because they had just fired Mike McCarthy, who's now at Dallas. But when they first got LaFleur, I did not expect much, honestly, because Green Bay hadn't done really well that season. Obviously, they fired McCarthy, who had been there for a long time. But LaFleur, he just didn't strike me as I don't know. If you look at him, he's really young. I don't know what his actual age is, but he looks really, really young. And I didn't expect a ton out of him, honestly. But he has brought the team. He brought them back. I mean, look at how they've done this year. It's just crazy. He's brought Aaron Rodgers back. I think Aaron Rodgers, like I said, he's obviously one of the top offensive players of the year. They won the second straight NFC North title. I just think, I mean, especially because if you remember the offseason, people were not expecting much out of the Packers. They drafted Jordan Love, a quarterback, in the first round, which everybody was going crazy about that because they were saying they might start him over Rodgers, and they say Rodgers might leave over it, but he brought them back. They've looked so great this season, and I just think he's going to be my coach of the year.
Yeah, I had Kevin Stefanski of the Browns. The Browns hadn't made the playoffs in 22 years. I'm pretty sure. I think that's right. 22 seasons, maybe. He brought them back. I think this is his first year as a coach too. I'm pretty sure they fired Freddie Kitchens last year. I think it may be his second year, but him and Baker Mayfield have a connection for sure. And he brought this team to the playoffs after a long drought. He's really turned this team around, honestly. They've had so many coaches over the years, and they hired him in 1 or 2 years. I don't exactly remember how long he's been here or been in Cleveland, but 1 to 2 years he's turned this club around. And I think in the future the Browns they have a bright future, just like the Bills. Like the Bills last year, they made the playoffs last year, barely, kind of same situation as the Browns. They got out first round. I predicted the Browns to get out first round, but I think the next year, I think the Browns are going to be really deadly because of him. So I think he's the obvious candidate for Coach of the Year.
All right, so for me, it's Sean McDermott. He's the Bills head coach. He was signed in 2017, January 11th. He has led the Bills to what now is their second playoff appearance. And so they made the playoffs last year, obviously, barely though. And they got out first round against the Texans. This year, they're who people are saying that they are the second most dominant team in the AFC. They have an incredible record. The Bills have been on fire this year. This coach has really turned this franchise around. So my pick for Coach of the Year is Sean McDermott.
Yeah, the Bills, they haven't won. This is their first AFC East title since 1995. And I know the Patriots weren't great this year. Carter will tell you that, right, Carter?
They were not great this year. But that just goes to speak how dominant they were in the past years. How the Bills haven't made it in,
Okay, we're not talking about the Patriots here, Carter. Come on.
Dude, you get me going and I can't stop. This is what happens. You can't learn your lesson.
But the Bills are good. And the fact that coach McDermott, he saw Josh Allen, he coached Josh Allen really well, obviously. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's a great coach. He's a great candidate for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, any of these guys is really a toss-up. for the coach of the
I
year.
feel like there's a lot of
All of them have really kind of turned the program around.
100%.
I feel like Green Bay was the only program that's been consistently good, but they've never been like successful. Like they've been successful, they've never made it to this. They haven't made it to the Super Bowl in a while.
in recent years.
And he's brought them back to being the number 1 seed in their division. So I mean, yeah, he's definitely, all of these coaches have done a great job. But we got the big one next up. We have the MVP pick. Jack, go ahead.
This is the big one. I don't know. I know I picked Rodgers for offensive player of the year, and I feel like it might be a bit contradictory, but I think Mahomes might get the MVP just because, well, I picked in the last episode, I picked the Chiefs to beat the Packers in the Super Bowl, but I mean it's the same reasons, just because Mahomes is so dynamic. If you watch him play, it's just a joy to watch him play, just because the way he moves in the pocket, it's just, and his stats this year, he had great stats. I mean, if you calculate them all, it's easy to argue that he had better stats than Rodgers, but it's also easy to argue that Rodgers had better stats. I mean, he had 38 pass touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. I mean, Kansas City was 14-1. I just think that Mahomes is the best pick to win MVP, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's Rodgers. Those two are my top 2 picks.
Yeah, it's such a toss-up. But I'm going to kind of go with a dark horse here. Nobody's talking about this guy. He's been really consistent throughout his career. He delivers dimes every throw. I'm going to go with the GOAT, Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh my God.
He is insane. I mean, he's been popping off this year. But in all seriousness, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Like Jack said, it's a real toss-up between these two. And Josh Allen, honestly. Josh Allen's had an incredible season.
Right.
And I think he is now actually ahead of Mahomes in like the odds to win it. But I think it's got to be Rodgers. He had 48 touchdowns, which is wild. 5 interceptions, which is actually tied for first. And he had the highest quarterback rating, an 84.4. And yeah, he plays 7th in yards, but still 48 touchdowns. That's 2 more from 50, which, only I think 2 quarterbacks have done, which is Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. But I think it's just a clear choice, Aaron Rodgers. I'd rather it be, honestly, Josh Allen. I want it to be Allen, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, so my pick for the MVP was the same as Carter's. I think Aaron Rodgers will really, first of all, he deserves it. He's been popping off. Green Bay has an incredible record. His touchdown to interception ratio is it's so good. The amount of touchdowns that he's thrown, the amount of yards that he has thrown is still super impressive.
Yeah.
He's gotten Devontae Adams more touchdowns than Mason Crosby has field goal kicks. So I think that.
Ooh, wait, yeah, no, I heard that Aaron Rodgers has more touchdowns than the Packers have punts. So that really goes to show you.
I think Aaron Rodgers is just the best QB in the game at the moment, and I think that he can lead Green Bay really far into the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. So I think that Aaron Rodgers is the clear choice for MVP for me.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, he really, he's crazy, man. He has such a good season. There's just really nobody, I think, that competes this year. So I look it up right now. Jake Scott, the Green Bay punter, had 46 punts. 46. Aaron Rodgers had 48 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That right there, that's the stat, honestly. That's the stat of the year, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen something like that. Well, that's, I think, going to do it for this episode. Really short one. But, thank you, Jack, again, for being a special guest. Big shout out to him. Big props. Yeah, let us know what you guys want us to cover. Give us suggestions, I think it'd be fun to, have you suggest some episodes for us to do in the future.
Basically, what he's trying to say is that we're running out of ideas, and I'm just
we just, I think it'd be fun, if y'all pick some episodes with you. It doesn't have to be sports related. It doesn't have to be, football related or anything like that. Just no politics, please. We're not really trying to get into that field.
Exactly.
But so thank you, Jack, and we will catch you guys next time. Thank you for listening.